Terence Crawford against Floyd Mayweather at 47.
You gotta have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
The tension in boxing right now is unlike anything we've seen in years, because the debate is no longer just about champions of today versus yesterday. It's about Terence Crawford standing on the mountaintop after his shocking win over Canelo and daring to place himself in the conversation as not just the best fighter alive, but perhaps even better than Floyd Mayweather himself. Crawford didn't shy away from the comparisons. When asked directly who would win in a fight between himself and a prime Mayweather, he didn't hesitate. Me, he said flatly, without blinking, without apology. That confidence, coming from a man who had just dethroned one of the most dominant champions of the last decade, sent shockwaves through the sport. Mayweather, never one to let a challenge go unanswered, quickly responded. He praised Crawford's win over Canelo, acknowledging it as historic, but he also reminded everyone of his own resume: 50 wins, 0 losses, a career spent not just beating champions but doing so without ever tasting defeat.
So he said, Floyd don't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 pounds or 152.
Floyd was careful in his tone, respectful even, calling Crawford one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today. But he made sure to underline the gulf between being one of and being the. In Mayweather's view, that top spot belongs to him until proven otherwise.
People remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times.
The fight that fans never thought they would even dream of, Crawford against Mayweather, suddenly doesn't feel so impossible. And fueling the fire even more was Canelo's shocking statement after his fight. When asked about who was better, Floyd or Crawford, the Mexican superstar didn't hesitate either. "I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather," he declared. Coming from the only man who has shared the ring with both of them, that comment carried enormous weight. To some, it was sacrilege. To others, confirmation of what they had already begun to believe. The arguments have exploded across boxing circles. Supporters of Crawford point to his willingness to jump weight classes, to take on bigger, stronger men, and not just survive but dominate them. Beating Canelo, who reigned above 160 pounds for years, is a feat that instantly elevates Crawford into mythical territory. Mayweather's critics, like Ryan Garcia, argue that Floyd never dared to take such risks. Garcia has gone as far as to accuse Mayweather of changing boxing in the worst way, carefully picking opponents past their prime or before they had fully matured, all in order to protect his perfect record. To Garcia, that kind of legacy is hollow, built on timing rather than true conquest. But not everyone agrees. Analysts like Stephen A. Smith remind fans of what Mayweather brought into the ring every single time. Defensive genius, a ring IQ unmatched in modern boxing, and the ability to frustrate world-class fighters to the point where they could barely land a clean punch. Smith drew a sharp line between them, saying Crawford might take punches and keep going, but Floyd almost never got touched at all. Greatness, in his eyes, was not just about who you beat, but how little damage you absorbed while beating them. Max Kellerman added his own nuanced perspective, acknowledging that Floyd's resume is filled with names that will live forever in boxing history, but also pointing out that Mayweather controlled the timing of those fights with surgical precision. Crawford, by contrast, is seen as the fighter who wants it with everyone, no matter when, no matter the risk. That difference in attitude is why some fans now feel Crawford's aura resembles that of Sugar Ray Robinson, the man many still call the greatest ever. Like Robinson, Crawford is beginning to leave the impression that he could beat anyone, anywhere, at any time. The generational divide is clear. Floyd's era prized strategy, timing, and the preservation of the zero. Crawford's era, at least in the way it's being framed, celebrates daring, risk, and the willingness to fight the biggest names regardless of outcome. Even Ryan Garcia, despite being knocked out by Gervonta Davis, insists that taking that kind of risk means more in the long run than protecting a spotless record. To him, Crawford embodies that warrior's spirit, while Mayweather embodied business. Still, Mayweather's record looms large. 50 wins, no defeats. Every time his critics rise, that number is what silences the room. Nobody ever figured him out. Nobody ever put a loss on his record. Crawford may be riding the wave of one of the most impressive victories of this century, but the body of work Mayweather left behind is hard to ignore. And yet, the longer this debate rages, the more real a potential clash begins to feel. Mayweather has not officially announced a comeback, But the way he has defended his place in history, the way he has responded to Crawford's claims, sounds less like a retired legend and more like a man not ready to be replaced. Pair that with Crawford's willingness to call out anyone, anywhere, and the idea of Mayweather versus Crawford suddenly shifts from fantasy to possibility. The boxing world is at a crossroads. Is Terence Crawford the man who finally dethrones Floyd Mayweather in the eyes of history, or is Floyd still untouchable, the gold standard of modern boxing? The only way to truly answer that question might be in the ring. But until then, fans, analysts, and fighters themselves will continue to argue, each side convinced they know who really stands as the greatest. So what do you think? If Mayweather in his prime faced the Terence Crawford of today, who walks away victorious? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more breakdowns of the biggest debates in boxing.